Okay, here we go.
You can leave now.
What's that? This was ski racing, not snowboard racing. Sorry.
Sorry. I forgot that we're better.
Okay, and the next clip is Ted Ligety, and he's actually training. I think it's from February of last year, but he's actually training on the Sochi GS course in Russia. So it's a pretty neat perspective. The first run is a perspective from behind him, going through the gates on the course, and the next perspective is actually a point of view camera right on his helmet. So it gives you a real neat perspective.
Return to the Mac. Get up what it is, what it is, what it is, what it isn't. Looking for a better way to get up out of bed instead of getting on the internet and checking the new hit gears. First shot, hip strap walking, a little bit of humble, a little bit of cautious. Somewhere between like Rocky and Cosby's for the game, but no, y'all can't copy that. Moonwalking. It's all party, it's all Maxi's been on Broadway, and we did it all like pro music. I should be skinning everything I record to it. Ain't got that stage light, going shine on down. Got that game play over my style. Money, stay on my craft, they stick around for those pounds. But I do that to pass the torch and put on for my town. Trust me, chasing dreams since I was 14 with the torch track busting. And make it to the city with the here, they can't tell me nothing. We give that to my people, spread it across the country. Labels out here, now they can't tell me nothing. We give it to the people, spread it across.
Are anybody's thighs burning yet?
This is the moment, tonight is the night. We'll fight till it's over, so we put our hands up like the ceiling can't hold us. Like the ceiling can't hold us. And we go back. This is the moment, tonight is the night.
Same run.
I'm so damn grateful. I grew up really wanna go once, but that's what you get when Wu-Tang ways. Y'all can't stop me. Go hard like I gotta eat a bit of my heartbeat. And I'm eating at the beat like I give a little speed to a great white shark on sharp beat. Gonna go hard with girls. Let's go back. I got a world to see. My girl, she wanna see Rome. See, so make you a believer now. I never ever did it for a throne. That validation comes from giving it back to the people now. I sing this song and it goes like, raise those hands. This is our party. We came here to live life like nobody was watching. I got my city right behind me. If I fall, they got me. Learn from that failure, gain humility, and then we keep marching. And we go back. This is a moment. Tonight is the night. We'll fight till it's over. So we put our hands up like the ceiling can't hold us. Like the ceiling can't hold us. This is a moment. Tonight is the night. We'll fight till it's over. So we put our hands up like the ceiling can't hold us. Like the ceiling can't hold us.
so there's. Okay, so the next one is Michaela Schifrin, and this would be slalom. So this is a little different than giant slalom, and you'll see the difference pretty quickly. And it's also in German.
Von Michaela Schifrin und da ist sie. Die Amerikanerin, die so elegant und sicher am Weg ist, aber da oben schon beim vierten Tor, du hast sofort erkannt. Genau, da ist sie fast am Schießen ausgerutscht, ist und eine Woche, das ist überhaupt sehr lange draußen, um den Rhythmus zu finden. Aber trotzdem nur 2 Zehntel, das zeigt einfach, wie schnell sie fahren. Aber da wieder, ganz leicht verrückt. Und wieder, da geht zweimal der dritte Unsicherheit. Das hat man von Schifrin während der Weltcup-Saison eigentlich nie gesehen. Vielleicht denkt sie an WM Gold und das macht sie etwas nervös. Ja, und da ist der Rückstand auch über eine halbe Sekunde auf Frieda Hausdorf. Aber die Passage ist wieder gut gefahren. Aber sie ist ja nicht die Spezialistin für die flachen Stücke. 50-41 von Hausdorf, das knapp sie nicht alles, sie hat sich herangetastet. Also wirklich den Übergang, den wir vorher angesprochen haben, den ist sie gut. Und das ist wieder ein typischer Skiflug.
Okay, so that gives you a little taste of both the slalom and the giant slalom courses. So, Joe, if you want to enlighten us a little bit on.
All right, so now we're going to slow it down. Yeah, we're going to talk about the history of ski racing. We have to talk a little bit about where skiing started. And
History of ski racing.
we got a slide up here.
Slideshow.
We have 4 different things, topics, early history. We get up. I made sure to add it up.
Yeah, I have it up.
You got to turn the.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, turn the projector on.
Power. Just power on. Really?
Like I said, can we slow it down a little bit?
Hey, how about that program?
Did you shut it off after?
No, wait, here.
And now let it go. Might need to warm up.
Now it should come on. Okay, sorry about that.
So we have the early days, the birth of skiing, modern ski racing, and Sochi. So when it comes up, you'll see that in my first slide. Anyway, early days. Go ahead, Roger, the next one. If you believe it. I don't know if you believe it or not. And he turned it back off on me. Anyway,
Oh, come on.
all the way back to 8000 BC is where they're dating the initial ski from.
Can't hear you, Joe. Dude.
Really?
Speak up.
Mumbling in the back.
Wow.
People in the
Well,
back
I
need to be quiet.
I didn't think it was needed.
That's pretty low.
People in the back need to be quiet.
If you stop talking, slap at your back.
Okay, so all the way back to 8000 BC. Can you hear that, Eddie?
Yep.
All right, we're good.
8,000 BC.
The microphone's over there.
Yeah. So what they did back then, they had skins. You hear about skins today. People are out mountaineering and they got their skis and they put skins on.
I remember that.
Well, they had skins then. And they took animal skin and put it on the bottom of a ski that allowed them to trek across the snow-covered mountains and search whether they're hunting or traveling. So that's where it all started. And next slide. So the birth of ski racing, 1843. First public skiing competition held in Tromsø, Norway. Also, the first skiing competition reported by a newspaper. 1861, the first alpine ski club was formed in Gandra, not Austria, Australia. Believe it or not, I didn't believe it, I looked it up. And it is Australia, not Austria. 1905, the formation of the U.S. Ski Association, later named the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Association.
See, Roger, some people aren't biased.
1924, the formation of the International Ski Federation, FIS. No, the letters don't line up because it was in French. So FIS at the bottom. Next one, Rob. All right, the modern ski racing, a ski gate. Forget NASCAR because they don't do it this way. But in real ski racing, a ski gate consists of two pole sets, an inside and an outside. And there's an imaginary line that passes through between the two. And your ski boots must go through between the two pole sets. If you hook a tip and the boot goes on the outside of the pole, you're just DQ'd. They have to go through. However, there is no directional requirement. So you can get off course, ski under the gate, and go up through, and come back around the outside. Or just up through and straight back through. Legal, as long as the boots cross that imaginary line. Unfortunately, as I learned in high school, you cannot finish a race through more than two gates. One gate before the finish and the finish gate without both skis on your feet. Hooked a tip on a gate, blew it off. I was about 6 gates away from the finish. I'll just finish. Skied the rest of the course on one ski. DQ. Didn't matter. Next one, Roger. The slalom. Slalom is a ski race where the gates are generally closer together and you don't traverse quite so far across the hill. So you're going out and back, but you don't go out quite as far. You have more gates in the course than you will in any of the other disciplines. And and he went too fast.
But it's on.
And you'll see that the boots are passing on the outside of this blue gate here. There's another blue gate out here somewhere. And then he's going to hit this red gate, and there's another red gate out here somewhere. So his boots are passing through, and he's got protective gear on and blocking that breakaway pole. It just flops out of the way as he skis through. All right, good. Giant slalom, defined as a long distance slalom. Imagine that. So the gates are a little further apart on the hill, up and down the hill, and they're also a little wider. And typically with the GS, you will find that rather than single pole gates, they are flag gates, and it's a double pole. That's the one side of the gate, alternating in red and blue. Again, NASCAR doesn't do it that way. But you can see the ski line going through, and you're not going to go quite as hard into these gates because you hit that gate straight on too hard. You might hook on the flag, and it's got a lot more resistance because the flag and the other pole are there. Roger. Supergiant slalom was introduced 10, 12, 15 years ago, if I remember right, as a spot between the full downhill and the GS. Again, gates a little further apart, and they start marking the snow, so there's better visibility as to where you're going at the higher speeds. Next. Downhill. Really couldn't find a good back shot of a downhill coming down a mountain, but you'll see it's almost the entire slope. And often you'll watch these downhills, and these guys are basically just following the trail as fast as they can go. There are gates, you'll see, and in this case, there's 2 red gates in a row, so why they don't alternate there with red and blue, I don't know. But Anyway. But this course goes up through that way. And up to speeds over 75 miles an hour. There's some runs that will hit over 80. Not typically though. Roger. Famous ski racers. Okay? Dick Durant's 1932. Positioning really looks pretty good. I'm pretty impressed. Okay?
Arms out for the literally.
Go 20 years later, Stein Eriksen. And these are just some I just picked out. There's others, but don't do them all. So as we go through these, think about it. And I'm going to ask this question now. Who had the most World Cup medals out of all these skiers? Okay. Next. Gretchen Fraser, 1948. Andrea Mead Lawrence, 1952. She's looking pretty good. Next one. Jean-Claude Keely.
Denmark.
Ingemar Stenmark. Next. Anne-Marie Moser-Kroll. You know Phil Mayer. Next. Albert Tatomba. Our Herbinator. Okay.
And what was the question? Most world cup?
Lindsey Vonn.
How old was she then?
Bodie Miller, and don't go any further. Okay. Out of all those, who was number 1 in World Cup medals?
Tomba.
I heard it earlier, but
Phil Mayer.
Ingemar Stenmark, number 1.
Do I get a beer?
Who is number 2?
Phil Mayer.
Don't go, Amber.
Anna Marie.
Not male.
Anna Marie Moser.
There you go. Sue got it.
Get hurt.
What speed did
Lindsey Vonn.
Ingemar Stenmark race on? Elon.
And Anne-Marie was at the top.
Yeah.
Okay. Next. So, U.S. team looking to go to Sochi, which they won't decide until January 26th. As who's actually going to go. Yeah, it is tight because these guys have a tendency to occasionally have injuries. And so we don't want to make those decisions too early. Roger already talked about Michaela. Roger already talked about Ted. Thanks for stealing the show. Next one. Julia, which we also already talked about. Bodie, who did not ski last year. Knee replacement, took the year off.
Knee replacement?
Came back. He's had 1 4th place finish already this year.
And second, too.
Did he have a second?
Yes, this year.
Well, this year, 4th place. That's what we're talking about. What's the second? All right, a 4th and a second.
Somewhere up there.
But he also had a 35th spot just recently. But it was snowing real hard, and so anyway. Roger. Steve Nyman coming up. Stacy Cook coming up. And I think that's all I have on there. Questions on this initial portion?
Do they ski shaped skis?
Who are they? We talked about a lot of people.
Yes. Modern skiers, downhill racers.
Your downhill racer, the shape on a downhill ski is, the arc is so long, could you call it shaped?
Absolutely.
The design is more of a shape than it used to be.
Okay.
But if you looked at it, you wouldn't see a dramatic
Okay.
cut in it.
Not like
Because
that, not
they
like
need
that.
that ski to ski a really long arc.
Okay.
Just, 3 years ago, they changed even the GS
Yeah.
to, a 27 meter?
No, it's coming up on the next show. No.
All right, coming up to the next one.
How long?
The length isn't regulated.
Yeah, it is. I'll talk
He'll talk about that too. That's
All
his
right.
part.
Just wait, Maynard.
Thanks, Grant.
Oh,
All right, no
So
more
you're asking
questions.
questions for anything else?
No more questions.
No more questions.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, so now we have Grant.
Are you in control of your machine now? And you're okay for your...
Yep.
Okay, when I look at ski racing and equipment, it's changed dramatically over the years. It's changed dramatically over the last few years. When Joe talked about the first skis back in 18,000 BC, wow. I think they were basically like gigantic snowshoes because they were designed more to go across the mountain than down the mountain. Okay, so I basically broke this down into 3 categories, 3 levels of racing. I'm going to talk about the equipment and basically what you might need if you're at that level. Okay, the first level I call the bare necessities to race in NASCAR. Okay, Roger's going to talk to you a little bit about the NASCAR and how it all developed. But basically, you need a pair of skis. They don't have to be fancy, but you need a pair of skis. You need a pair of boots. You need to have a helmet. You need poles, and you need goggles. And that's basically all you need. So everybody in this room could race NASCAR on February the 9th. Thank you. Okay? You don't need anything fancy. You're racing against yourself. That's level 1. Bare necessities. Okay? Level 2. You want to be a little bit better in NASCAR racing. You want to start to compete against yourself. You want to bring your handicap down. Okay? So now we need all the above, but now our skis need to be tuned. They need to be sharp, they need to be waxed, they need to be beveled, the edges, okay? To make it easier to turn and also to hold an edge. So that's very, very important, okay? You ought to have a stiffer boot. You don't want something that's like a marshmallow. You want something that's stiff so that when you're really applying pressure to the edges of the ski, it doesn't wash out. You need a lot of pressure and you need direct contact. You don't want slop in that boot, okay? So now we're going to get a stiffer boot. And this doesn't mean you have to rush out to Ski Tunes and buy boots for that race, okay? I'm just saying if you want to get to the next level, you need a more performance-oriented boot.
But you can if you want to, right?
Amen.
And they're on sale right now.
Not quite. All right. Body must be, now we got to start working out. Body's got to be in a little bit better shape. Okay? That way you can be more competitive. Thighs need to be a little stronger, so you got to get out there and ski a little bit before you start racing. Get out there 10 times. Get out there 5 times and you know, get the feel of it. That's very important. So that's level 2. Now everybody in this room could be in level 2 like that. You don't necessarily need those fancy boots, but you could still be at level 2, okay? Stiffen them up a little bit. Duct tape, Gorilla Tape works real good. Come see me, I'll sell it to you cheap. Can you jack it up a little bit for me? Thank you. Okay, level 3. Could you stand up for a minute? Yeah. It's basic group. This is level 3. All right, she's level 3. Sit down. Okay, he's definitely level 3. All right. This is a guy that wants to really perform. He wants to win gold. He's tired of winning gold. He wants to win platinum. He's tired of winning platinum. He wants to be at the regionals and get out there and win some gold medals at nationals like Steve has done. Woo! Okay? This is a serious racer. And as you can see, it costs a little bit more money. But if you come to Ski Tunes, I'll turn you on for a real good deal. Okay, so what do we need? Well, goggles and it would be a good idea that the goggles you have a couple different lenses, simply because you're going to be racing at different conditions. Flat light is miserable. Now, I started skiing in this one goggle that I have. I'm not the kind of guy that likes to change lenses. They have a lot of fancy goggles out there today, $150, $200. I don't really believe in that. I don't like to be able to have to change goggles. I want a goggle. I don't want to have to change the lens. I'm going to put it on in the morning, and I'm going to leave it on when it gets flat at 2 o'clock. Okay? I have a lens here called the Illuminator. It's awesome. But anyway, you need a good goggle, and you're going to need a lens that's going to help you see, because if you can't see, you can't race. It's that simple. Second of all, you need body armor. Body armor to protect yourself. Now, if you're in slalom racing, you need body armor for your knees or shins. If you're downhill in GS, you need it for your back and your shoulders, because that's the part that's going to be hitting the gates. If you're slalom racing, you're going to be hitting it with your knees. You're going to be hitting it with a pole that has a guard on it. And then you're going to have a guard, almost like a football player, a guard across your mouth or a guard across your helmet. I don't have that to show you, but Steve has that type of gear. So this is serious stuff, okay? Race boots, $625 and up. Do you need them? You want to have something stiff, and that's performance. That's important, okay? Race poles. Well, if you're downhill racing, you want a pole that wraps around the body so that when you're down in a tuck, you have better type of aerodynamics, all right? So you want this thing wrapped around your body. So these poles, of course, these are Leakey's, and probably $150 a pair, okay? If you're racing slalom, then of course you want a straight pole that has a hand guard on it. Most race poles today are not carbon fiber. Most of them are aluminum, but very, very, very stiff and very expensive aluminum, not the kind of stuff you buy for $50, okay? Race skis, expensive. And then, of course, the race skis have plates on them to jack you up a little bit higher so you get more leverage into a turn. You're going to need a race tune. They're expensive. A lot of times these race tunes will actually wax the ski, scrape it off, wax it again, scrape it off, wax it again, scrape it off, and keep burnishing that wax into the base, into the pores of the base. The more wax that you can build up inside the base, the longer it's going to last down that downhill course. Okay? Bases need to be structured. I have a little tool here. You can check it out later on. Basically, it looks like a file that has edges on it. And you pull